Like I said a few days ago, Lord Chaitanya predicted that in the future a great Senapati Bhakti would come, Bhakta would come, an expert will come, and we would spread his holy name all over the world, in every town and village. And the one who has done that is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya of the Hare Krishna movement, of Lord Chaitanya's movement. He has set standards for us to follow. And the mercy of Lord Chaitanya flows to Srila Prabhupada. And all so-called spiritual masters in this movement are representatives of Prabhupada, nothing more. But, so if we want to be successful in this chanting, we need the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of Srila Prabhupada, and all his representatives. Therefore, it's good to have always in your house a picture of Prabhupada to remember and pray for the mercy. Mercy comes to Prabhupada, to his representatives. And that is for everyone, also for me. If I want to speak something which makes sense, I need the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So traditionally, before speaking or lecturing, we can say from the scriptures, we are following Prabhupada's tradition. And we chant Radha Madhav. Radha Madhav is in very brief representing the entire spiritual world. That it's a meditation on Radha and Krishna and all these associations in the spiritual world. That yes. Jaya Radha Madhava Sonya Bihari Radha Madhava Sonya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Sonya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Sonya Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Devanaka Gopijana Vallabha Devanaka Gopijana Vallabha Devanaka Gopijana Vallabha Devanaka Yamuna So that is traditional kirtan starts with the pranam of Srila Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada is a representative of Lord Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya, who came to give us this holy name. That and without this mercy, it's impossible to get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's not possible. Therefore, we chant after the pranam of Srila Prabhupada, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swanti Nami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharini Nirvise Sringavada Paskachai Desakam. After that, we chant the Pancha Tattva mantra, the associates of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is Bhakta Rupa. He has appeared, is Krishna appearing as his own devotee to teach us how to be a devotee in Kali Yuga, in this age. And Nityananda is his first expansion, is Balaram. And Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu. They have all, these three are Vishnu Tattva, forms of the Lord, or of course, Lord Chaitanya is the original form, is Krishna himself. And then you have Gadadhar. Gadadhar represents Srimati Radharani. And Shivas is the perfect devotee, is Narada Muni. So therefore, to get their mercy, by their mercy, if we chant this Panchatattva mantra before chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, before we do japa, every round, we should chant this Panchatattva mantra. Because if you chant this mantra, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivas, Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda, if you chant that, then that will help to get their mercy to overcome the offenses. Offenses, it said, are not counted. So it's very important to chant this Panchatattva mantra before we chant the mantra. So by japa, every round we chant, then we come out a beat, we chant this, we turn and we chant first this Panchatattva mantra. In Kirtan, we chant this 3 times before the Hare Krishna mantra. Prabhupada said 3 times, not more. 3 times. And then that's the Vedic system. 3 times, then you mean it. 3 times. And then the mantra. And in Kirtan, we sing only the Hare Krishna mantra. That we don't sing Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Sometimes we sing that, but that's bhajan. That's not Kirtan. The Kirtan is the mantra. So this is Kirtan etiquette, which Srila Prabhupada taught us, and which starts to begin. The devotee starts to forget that because they take on other habits that they make from the chanting, from the kirtan, a musical performance because they want to enjoy it. But the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, we chant it as a service to give enjoyment to Krishna, and we forget this. It's very important to remember this and to practice this, that we have the right attitude in the chanting. We are not chanting to become happy in this world. That's not the purpose of the chanting. The purpose of the chanting is to give pleasure to Krishna, and by that, Krishna gives his mercy, and we come to the level of ecstatic love for Krishna, which is beyond this world. But it's not the purpose to become happy in this world, because this world is not a happy place. It's dukkhalayam shashvatam, and you cannot change it. That is what it is. And Krishna says, the first instruction in Bhagavad Gita, tolerate this happiness and distress, and fix your mind on me, come to the transcendental platform. And one who is expert in this is a sadhu, that we have explained previous days, that a sadhu is one who is a devotee of Krishna, who is surrendered to Krishna. And surrender to Krishna means following his instructions in Bhagavad Gita and from his representative, the spiritual master. And if we just try to follow these instructions, we try with sincerity, because we have understood we are in trouble in this world. I have this body and I'm going to die. I come to my senses that this is not really the place to be, that I'm a spiritual being. I want constant happiness, not just this flickering happiness of this world. Then we surrender and we start to follow. And when you are sincere and you are strictly following, you are chanting 16 rounds as Prabhupada gave us. You follow the four related principles. You hear every day the Bhagavad Gita in the Bhagavatam. And you perform devotional service and worship the deity every day. So these are the 5 most potent items of devotional service, which we need to practice every day. They are mentioned in a manual, Nectar of Devotion. Krishna, Srila Prabhupada gave us Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada said every devotee should know this book inside and outside, how to practice. And in this book are 64 items of devotional service explained. 10 things we should do, 10 things we should not do, and 44 things we should do to worship the deity properly. And we should know these things. And if we are sincere in following this, then we are a sadhu, Krishna says. And even if we are still impure in heart, but we follow sincerely, Krishna says we are still a sadhu. And why is that? That is the verse of today in Bhagavad Gita we will discuss. Verse 31 of chapter 9. Yesterday we discussed verse 30. So before we chant from the Bhagavad Gita, so we glorify Lord Krishna with the following words. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Chapter 9, the Bhagavad Gita, the most confidential knowledge, text 31. Shikram bhavati dharmatma sasvachantim nigacchati kauntya pratijaniya Name Bhakta Panashyati. Krishna says, he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son, O son of Kunti, declared boldly that my devotee never perishes. So what did Krishna say in the verse of yesterday that we discussed? You remember?
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday evening, those who were there. But the verse we discussed, the previous verse, what does Krishna say about the sadhu?
But he can do, even if he's doing any kind of abominable work, he's still a sadhu.
Yeah, yes. So even if he's doing abominable things, still he's a sadhu. And here Krishna tells why is he still a sadhu? That it says he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. A sadhu, we said, is one who chants the holy name of Krishna. That so if we chant the holy name of Krishna without offenses, what will happen?
Purify.
You become purified. Purified from what? From what do we become purified when we chant?
Material attachments.
Material attachments. Yeah, and
Anarthas.
anartha. What does it mean? Anartha. What does artha mean? Artha. Wealth. And anartha, not wealth. That not what we that it's undesired, not wealth. Anartha. What is the real wealth the devotees want?
Krishna Prema.
Krishna Prema, not forgot. Yeah. And everything what is an obstacle towards that wealth is an anartha. That is unwanted. That and when we become purified, yes, from our anarthas, from our material desires, and from what will happen when we chant the holy name without offenses. Your karma goes. Your karma, previous karma, reactions of your previous deeds is all destroyed. Karma is destroyed. And when the karma is destroyed and your material desires are gone, what happens?
Attachment to Krishna increases.
Yeah, and what happens then? Krishna says in this verse, he attains lasting peace. Peace. No attachment and aversion anymore. One becomes peaceful. We are always disturbed because you have so many desires to fulfill. You have so many plans, and your plans are always fulfilled in this form. Everything happens always what you want. No, that we know that many times our plans remain unfulfilled, frustrated, no peace. But Krishna says, yes, just a devotee who takes to my path and follows my instructions, he attains lasting peace. And then he says, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. That in the second chapter of the Gita, Krishna said, so it's something different, something similar. He said there that a little endeavor on this path that will never go in vain. always that there is no diminution. You develop Krishna consciousness, and you develop 2% in this life. Next life, you start with 2%. It never diminishes. Life after life, it never diminishes, Krishna consciousness. But material, even if you are most material successful in your life and you die, it becomes zero. Next life, you start from zero. But spiritual advancement you take with you. That and it protects you from the greatest dangers in the second chapter, Krishna says. What are these greatest dangers that Krishna protects you?
Falling into the pool of birth and death.
Verse. That the danger is always there. But it's something which is worse.
The animal bodies.
Yeah, to become an animal in next life. According to Bhagavad Gita, those who are in the mode of ignorance, who eat meat, who drink alcohol, and also, Krishna says in next life, in the 14th chapter, they become animals. So we can see the society, modern society, that so-called civilization, it produces in next life cats and dogs. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said this modern civilization is a civilization of cats and dogs. It prepares people for that. A serious thing that we can see what one will become in next life. But a little devotional service, a little chanting of this holy name protects you against the greatest danger. So even if you do not become successful in this spiritual endeavor, the consolation prize next life you have at least against again the human form of life. That's the minimum, just by chanting. And that's for everyone who is here, because you all chant with us. Because you chant, next life will be a human birth. Krishna protects that. And now, the purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, this should not be misunderstood. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. That's quite a statement. But that is it. But Srila Prabhupada, every sentence he writes here, there is a verse behind. And I'm going to read you the verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5. 5 text. 5:18-12. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavata kinchana sarver kunastatra samasate sura. Arava bhaktasya kuto mahat kuna anuretanasti bdavato bahi. All the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the spirit, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. This verse says that a devotee, it develops all good qualities automatically, just by performing devotion service. They develop. These are spiritual qualities. Spiritual qualities are described in Bhagavad Gita. That in the many lists, in the 12th chapter, verse 13 till 20, spiritual qualities. Advesta sarva bhutana maitra karunai vasa nirmamo nirankara Samduka Sukha Kshami. One who is not envious, but who is a kind friend to all living entities, but who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both in happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied and self-controlled. So these are just a beginning of a long, long list of spiritual qualities. These are desirable qualities we need to develop, because these are the qualities of the spirit soul. The spirit soul is eternal. They become manifest again. So these are spiritual qualities. But then, Arava Bhaktasya Kotoma Kunama Manoratanasati Bhavatug Bai. Arav Abhaktasya, the Abhakta, the one who is not a devotee, who does not practice devotional service, and who is Kutomad Guna, is in the gunas, he is engaged in material activities, that he has no good qualities, etc. No good qualities. So one who is not a devotee of Krishna has no good qualities. What does it mean? Oh, they may have many qualities in this life, but they are all material. Because all what they attain, all these qualities, they are driven by their own mental speculation. They are engaged in a material energy. And there can no be good quality for such a man. What does it mean? One may have many qualities, so good qualities and bad qualities, but if one is not a devotee of Krishna, they are material qualities, qualities going with the body, and with one's position, with one's situation. One gets honored because one has a certain position in the material world and so on. These are material qualities. And at the time of death, they disappear all. But your spiritual qualities, you take with you to your next life. They become manifest again from the spirit soul, whatever you have developed. So spiritual qualities are the real qualities. Material qualities are not desired. They are very temporary, very temporary. Therefore, we have Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the spiritual master of there are two kinds of students or disciples. Here, Lord Shiva has great sages as disciple, and he instructs them in bhakti, in devotional service, in pure devotional service. But he's also the spiritual master of many living entities in the mode of ignorance, spirits, oblogins, and such, and ghosts. And when Lord Shiva, all these ghosts and the spirits, they are abominable qualities. But when he sees even a spark of a spiritual quality in someone, he glorifies it like anything. But he does not see these bad qualities because they are material. Because they are not our real qualities. The real quality of this. Our real qualities are the qualities of the spirit soul. They are eternal. And what's eternal is valuable, Krishna says. Temporary qualities are not desired. We have so many good and bad qualities going with this body when we take birth. And yes, We have to live with it and use it in Krishna's service. But now, when one is a sadhu and performs pure devotional service, then in such a pure devotee resides Krishna's energies, resides there in the devotee. In the pure devotee, Krishna's energies. And this is an energy of bhakti, devotional service, spiritual energy. Another spiritual energy, Ladini. Ladini is the pleasure-giving potency of Krishna, the spiritual pleasure-giving potency of Krishna. But this Ladini Shakti is not really controlled by Krishna. It's under control of Radharani, Srimati Radharani. And then you have Samvit, that the eternal aspect of Krishna's energies. Krishna's energies, these are eternal energies, where material energy is temporary. So in a devotee resides this bhakti and this Ladini Shakti. Therefore, we should be very careful in our dealings with devotees. But how do we know that this spiritual energies resides in a pure devotee? What's the symptom? Lord Chaitanya explains, Trinatapi Shanichena Taro Api Saisnana Amana Namana Dena Kirtanya Sadahari. When someone gives me the translation.
Someone who feels more fallen than a glass of a blade of grass.
More humble.
Doesn't ask for any glorification.
Yeah.
You always give honor. Don't expect honor in return.
Yeah. And what about the tree?
They're more tolerant than tree.
Okay. So Trinatapi Shanichana is more humble than a grass in the street. Grass of the street. Everyone runs over it. And is more tolerant than a tree. A tree does not protest when it's cut down. It serves everyone, a tree. Under the tree in the winter it's warm. In the summer it's cool under the tree. Even if you cut the tree is serving you even afterwards in the form of wood. So much wood in these houses in Canada. All trees still serving, but they have already cut down already. And ready to give all honor to others and not asking honor for oneself. So these are symptoms of one. If you see these symptoms in someone, you can understand the energy of bhakti is residing in that person. That, of course, we have the fourth verse, na danam, na janam, na sundarim, kavatava, shri chakami, mamacha, mamicha, shri bhavata bhaktiya height between. That this verse says, yes, we should not strive for wealth in this world, not for association with the opposite sex. We don't want followers. We should only want to serve Krishna and the Vaishnavas humbly. So this is residing in the pure devotee of Krishna, in the pure Sadhu. Now, it is said, if we associate with this pure sadhus, I say before, they may even not be pure in heart, but their motivation is pure. They are sincerely following, and because they are sincerely want to become purified and want to develop love for Krishna. Krishna says they are rightlessly situated, and because they will become pure. But in such devotees, this energy of bhakti is there, and we can come in contact with 3 articles from these pure devotees, which will help us to create bhakti. And that is first, eating their food remnants, that touching the water that has washed their food, and touching the dust that has touched their food. So it was 91 or 92. For the first time, devotees from Russia were allowed to go out of Russia and went to India. For the first time, before they could not leave Russia. The first time. And they came with about, I think, more than 100. And they arrived all together in Mayapur. Of course, they had in Russia at that time, they had very heavily been suppressed by the government there and prosecuted in so many ways. But when they arrived in Calcutta, the devotees, Jayapataka Maharaj and all the devotees from Mayapur were waiting outside the airport of Calcutta with buses, and they had a big harinam when they arrived. So when they came out of the airport, they got all the garland and of the bus and with the kirtan, and they stayed in Mayapur, but everyone found them to be extremely humble. Because they came out of this suppression, and they had to tolerate so much. They had to tolerate so much in Russia. And the devotees made a plan to get these 3 powerful articles of the Bhaktivinoda Govinda Maharaj told us that, because he was one of the plan makers. And they invited all these Russian devotees in a house, near a big house, a hall, near to the Mayapur campus. And they were going to offer them a big feast, that prasadam. But they had put around the house, when they went in, a lot of dust, sand. And so that they all had to walk through that sand. And before they came in, they washed their food from everyone. So they had the food water. And then they sat down, Sarira, Vijayajal, and they started to serve prasadam, but they put on their plates 5 times more than they could eat. So by that, they got the remnants of the food, they got the food water and the food dust after that. But that is very powerful. But because in such humble devotees, devotion appears in their heart. And by living close to such Vaishnavas, also soon devotion will appear in your heart. That, and the Prabhupada disciples, they tell so many stories by their association with Prabhupada, how they felt this change of heart. That and just by their presence, a person will soon begin chanting and will develop also all the good qualities. That's this is the association. Should take the association of such devotees and not criticize them. Criticize them. If you criticize devotees, then the energy of bhakti will never enter your heart, because you are situated in aparat. Apa means against. Radha means Radha. Against Radha, against devotional service. So therefore, we should not criticize a devotee, not Haridas Thakur said, we should not criticize a devotee for the following four things. He's caste by birth. Most of us in the West, we are even not Sudras, we are lower. A Sudra follows the four regulated principles. A Sudra does not eat meat and drink wine. So we are lower. It's called Chandalas. But we should not criticize a devotee for his previous sins or his faults. They may still be there, but they will soon disappear because he becomes pure. Someone is under a shower. Do we criticize someone who is under a shower that is dirty? No. Or sometimes unpremeditated accidental sin, acts of sin appear. And we see that also, that especially when we are alone, Maya is very strong. And you can become a victim of lust. Therefore it's always good to stay in association of devotees that will protect us against it. Stay in a spiritual environment. Stay in the embassy of the spiritual world, the temple. You don't have a temple, turn your home into a temple. How do you do that? You worship the deity in your house, and it becomes a temple. That you discuss with your family members in the morning and the evening about Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and you chant Hare Krishna together. That is spiritual Grihastha life. That's the duty of a Grihastha. If a Grihastha does not do that, it's not an ashram. So that's a duty of the Grihastha. And Haridas Thakur says a fourth thing we should not criticize a Vaishnava is present traces of previous sinful activities. Many times we have still bad habits. We are not impure. No, we are impure. We are in our habits because we have done it for millions of lives, and it's not easy to change. It takes time and education to get pure. Now, okay, that we should not criticize a Vaishnava, but what should we do? What's the prevention? First, we chant the holy name ourselves. If we chant the holy name every day as Prabhupada has given us, and you do it seriously, with attention, chanting 16 rounds, It doesn't take long, 16 rounds. And it's 1 hour and 20 minutes. If you are used to chant, one round takes 5 minutes. But I was in 95 or 95, I think. I was at the Bhaktivedanta Manor in England, and Jayapataka came, and he gave us personally a workshop, japa. And he came to hear our japa, and he would say, quicker, around, you must finish it in 5 minutes. But of course, we have to be careful. You must chant with attention. The speed is not so important. The attention is important. You must pronounce it nicely and hear it. Concentrate on the hearing, no other thoughts than trying to just to hear. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, and then the next one. Yeah, but if you have routine, you do it in 5 minutes. It doesn't take so long. That and then yes, then you follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction, and then you get spiritual strength during the day just by doing that. Especially when you follow the entire morning program, these five most potent items of devotional service. So what are these five most potent items in actual devotion? Give me one of the five. Chanting. So we chant japa every morning. Yes.
4 core
and
regulating principles. 4 regulating principles.
That's not one of the five most potent items.
Deity worship.
Deity worship. So we should every day have Mangal Arti before the deities. And that's 2. And what's the third one?
Morning program. Listening to Srimad Bhagavatam.
Listen to the scriptures, to the Bhagavatam. So we should hear Bhagavatam class every morning, or read a verse of the Bhagavatam and the purport. These are 3. And what is the 4th one? Please? No. Association with devotees. Should associate with devotees. And then the 5th one. Prashad, yes. No, that's part of the morning program. That's not one of the 5. Worship of Tulsi is one of the 44 items, but not the most potent. You find that in Nectar of Devotion, that Nectar of Devotion explains in the beginning, in the introduction, it says what's the subject of the book. That the subject of the book is Bhakti Ras. Bhakti Ras is the spiritual happiness. Is spiritual happiness derived from our relationship with Krishna. But to have that Bhakti Ras, your heart must become pure. And then it's explained that pure devotional service, if you do it explains first what's pure devotional service. Anya vilasta sunyam jnanakarmatanavyam anukulvena krishnanam shilnam bhaktir uttama. Pure devotional service, Rupa Goswami said, is devotional service without material motivation, not for oneself. That, and not done with desire for liberation or attain something. It's just for the pleasure of Krishna favorably. It's service rendered to Krishna with the intention to please Krishna favorably. So that is devotional service. And that devotional service includes this devotional service has 6 qualities. That 2 qualities that in the beginning already manifest. From the beginning, if you chant and you hear the Bhagavatam, follow the principles, you chant. The first 2 qualities are klesha agni. Klesha agni. Klesha means suffering. Agni means burn. It takes away all your suffering. That klesha agni. And then that's the first quality. The second is subhada. Your life becomes auspicious. Everything in your life becomes auspicious. And then we have the next qualities. It is said, it is sudurlabha. This pure devotional service is rarely obtained. That it's rarely obtained. You need the faith and the piety to come to Krishna consciousness. Those who are too envious of Krishna, against religion, atheists, cannot take to it. It's not possible. So it's rarely obtained, sudurlabha. And it derides the pleasure of liberation. Liberation is peace. But bhakti ras is spiritual pleasure. A pleasure which is millions of times more pleasurable than the peace of liberation. And then you have 2 more qualities of bhakti, which we will manifest when our heart becomes pure. And it gives a bliss which is incalculable, and it attracts Krishna. It controls Krishna. If you get prema, you will control Krishna with your love, like the resident of Vrindavan. That Mother Yasoda controlled Krishna, could bind Krishna, who could not be bound by anyone. So Srimati Radharani controls Krishna. So these are 6 qualities of pure devotional service. 6 qualities. And how to develop these 6 qualities, you have to perform 64 items of devotional service. 10 things to do. The first things to do is that accept the spiritual master, following his instructions, and gives a number of things to do, and then things not to do. Means you have to follow the 4 regulative principles and so on. It's a whole list. And then it explains 44 items of devotional service. I like some of them are following Ekadashi. We follow Ekadashi. We worship Tulsi. We make special vows during Kartik. That's all mentioned in it. But it has these 5 most potent devotional forms of devotional service. And it's chapter 13, 5 most potent forms of devotional service. And there, these 5 forms are described. One should reside in a holy place. That's in the temple or in Vrindavan. You can't go to Vrindavan. You make your house, you turn your house into a temple by installing the deity. Sunday we have a deity installation. There we will create a temple of Krishna. And then one must study the Srimad Bhagavatam every day. That's very important, because we chant the holy name, we must know who Krishna is and what our position is and what our relationship is. By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, you develop this relationship with Krishna. You come in the right attitude. And then the chanting of the holy name will have effect. Then the offenses are due. All these offenses that we make are against this servitude towards Krishna. It's going against it. And then, of course, we have to chant the holy name. The holy name. So these are all these 5 most potent devotional activities: residing in a temple, worship the deity, recite the Bhagavatam, service to the devotees, association with devotees, service to devotees, and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So these 5 things we need to do every day. And if you look at these 5 things, that is our morning program, these 5 most potent items of devotional service. We get up and we take a shower to be in the mode of goodness. We put on tilak. We go to the temple. That's the temple. That's the first thing. And then we worship the deities. Second. Then we chant Hare Krishna. And then we hear the Bhagavatam. Before we do Guru Puja, serving devotees. It is 5 items. That's what we do. And that's in this book. Therefore, we need to study that very carefully to understand what's devotional service. It's not sentimental. You have to chant with knowledge. Knowledge is important. You have to know what we are doing. So therefore, we have to take shelter of this holy name. If we follow this process, we will refrain from criticizing the devotees. But if you don't do that, follow that process, you don't have the spiritual power. And Maya, the illusory energy, will make you criticize others. So that's the important lesson. Because also, if we associate with non-devotees, those who are against Krishna, and we associate with them, that will produce in our heart disrespect for devotees. It will contaminate us, association with non-devotees. So that's our prevention. Our prevention, our vaccine is chanting this holy name. And have a morning program. Get up in the morning before 4 o'clock And Guru Maharaj instructed all his disciples before all the Hiyastas, before 4 o'clock. So we put our clock all on 3:55. We are all there at 4 o'clock. We get up. And we have Mangal Arti in the morning, worship the deities, chanting Samsara Bhavana Namidanoka. And then we worship Lord Nrsimha Dev, Tulsi Devi. We recite the 10 offenses and the 6 Shastikam, we chant our rounds. And then after our rounds, we do Guru Puja and take darshan of the deities. We offer the food to the deities and we hear a class or we read a Bhagavatam. If we do that every morning, you get the spiritual power and you will stop criticizing all that. Otherwise, that will be in your heart. If you associate with non-devotees, associating means hearing what they have to tell about their lives and what they are going to do. And they are speaking about sex life, about enjoying their senses, about drinking and going out, and we don't want to hear this nonsense. That will contaminate us and make us criticize the virtue. So this is the purity of consciousness. We are here. The consciousness is a symptom of the soul, comes from the soul, but it's contaminated now, and we have to purify it. So we must avoid material association. And now, in material association, many of you are married, but within marriage, we associate with each other. And it is said, Haridas Thakur said, one should avoid association with women not according to the Vedic tradition. What does that mean? That means associating with women outside of marriage for the purpose of sex life. That's abominable. Or associating within marriage where one is controlled by one's wife. What does that mean? One must understand what that means. That's explained here. Haridas Thakur said, what is marriage according to the Vedic tradition? Well, it's Bhaktivinoda Thakur who is writing that in line with the teachings of Haridas Thakur. He says, only if one is married according to the prescribed rules and is following the rules of married life, in which the wife is submissive to the husband and the husband acts as a sadhu, is the association considered bona fide. So there are two conditions here. The wife must be submissive to the man, but the man must act as a sadhu. Maybe it's not a sadhu, that's okay, but it should act as a sadhu. Learn to act by surrendering to Krishna. You must be a devotee and perform pure devotional service. Only with the intention of serving Krishna and no other motivation in life. And that is according to the Vedic tradition. So within marriage, this is required. That otherwise, marriage will not be peaceful. It can turn into hell. And many have experienced that. That it's a lot to tolerate. That so we should give up asat sangha. Asat sangha. I'm not going in detail here, but one should give up association with Mayavadis, impersonalists. They are offenders of Krishna, very dangerous. One should not associate with pretenders. Many times there are those who come into the temple and they pretend to be devotees, but they come to do business with others and to exploit others factually. You have to be careful, very careful. It's not that everyone who comes to the temple is a pure devotee or have pure intentions. So pretenders are there. And then association with atheists. That's very, of course, we may have to work with atheists, but we associate them for the work, for nothing else. And we try to give our association, but we don't take their association. Then what follows here are different levels of devotees. That's quite advanced, would bring us too far. But now I want to tell some stories of the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Bhagavat is one of the biographies of Lord Chaitanya. So the main biography is Chaitanya Charitamrita, and composed by Krishnadas Kaviraj, who was a disciple of Nityananda Prabhu. But he was the last one, and therefore he has the most complete biography. It includes all the philosophy which has been developed or explained by Jiva Goswami, and so the whole nectar of devotion, the philosophy is there. Because nectar of devotion, where talks between Lord Chaitanya and Rupa Goswami, and also many parts of the Hari Bhakti Vilas. That's a book written by Sanatan Goswami. It's very instructions by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatan Goswami about Vaishnava behavior. Brahmacharya. Brahma Achar. Brahma means spiritual platform. Achar means behave. How to behave on the spiritual platform. That beautiful books, and there's a synopsis of this explained of indications at least of what's in these books. But there is also in the Chaitanya Bhagavat the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, and we know how Lord Nityananda was tried to with Haridas Thakur, tried to instruct, because they were going out every day on the instruction of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya instructed them, to tell everyone that please worship Krishna, chant Krishna's name, worship Krishna. They were begging everyone door to door. But of course, Jagai and Madai, they were degraded Brahmins. Their names, original names were Jagannath and Madhav, Jagai and Madai. But they got into drinking and sinful activities and so on. And they were a disturbance for the whole area, that they were plundering houses and anyway, so many things. But Lord Nityananda said to Haridas Thakur, if we could convert these into pure Vaishnavas, that would really be the glories of Lord Chaitanya. So let us try. So they went and they told them, Bolo Krishna, you chant Krishna, you worship Krishna, Bhaji Krishna. But then they became very angry and started to run after them to kill them, and they had to run. But anyway, they didn't give up, and they reported to Lord Chaitanya what happened and say, yes, we want to turn them into pure Vaishnavas for your glory. Next day they went back, and Jagai and Madai was in a drunken state, and so Lord Nityananda Haridas Thakur came there, and because every evening they were doing Sankirtan in the house of Srivas Thakur in the night, and Chaitanya only allowed this pure associates, because after behind closed doors. But they could hear the Sankirtan, the sound of the Hare Krishna mantra outside, and Jagai and Madai were outside in a drunken state, and in their drunken state they started also to chant Hare Krishna. but then the next day, Haridas and Nityananda went, and then when Nityananda said, it's Bola Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, you chant the holy name and worship Krishna, then they became angry. And Jagai took a container that, from how you call it? It's of clay, a clay pot, and the clay pot was broken, and he pushed it on. He put it on the head of Nityananda, and blood came out from his head, Nityananda, and the devotees became very upset. But then Jagai wanted to hit him again, but then Madai stopped him and said, no, yes, and we know it's an Avadutta, but he has not done anything wrong. So don't do it. But the devotees immediately went to Lord Chaitanya, running. And then Lord Chaitanya, very angry, came. And he came before Jagai and Madai, and he put his finger in the air, and chakra appeared to kill them. And Nityananda took his hand and he said, my Lord, you appeared in this age not to kill the demons with weapons. You came to kill their demoniac mentality in their hearts. So please, I remind you of your mission. That and Nityananda said, it's not so serious. The scarf of the pot fell out of the hand of Jagai, and it fell on my head, and I don't feel pain. But then when one of the devotees said that when Jagai wanted to hit Nityananda again, Madai stopped him. And Lord Chaitanya became very pleased. And he embraced Madai and gave him love of God. And suddenly, all his sins disappeared, and he became very blissful and started to show all the symptoms of ecstasy, of love of God. And then Jagai said, please, give me also your mercy. But Lord Chaitanya said, no, I cannot give you your mercy. You have offended Lord Nityananda. I cannot give you your mercy unless Lord Nityananda forgives you, nothing I can do. And immediately, Lord Nityananda embraced him, Jagai, and he became also full of ecstasy. And then Lord Chaitanya said, yes, now you have become free, pure in heart. So please remain pure in heart. Don't do this sinful activism anymore. That's the condition. And then they were allowed in the association of Lord Chaitanya. And they had at night these kirtans again. That with Jagai and Madai. And that and Lord Chaitanya at a certain moment decided, I will take all their sins, and his body turned black. And some of the devotees said, and Srivas Thakur, I think, said, you look like Krishna now, because he was looking black. Krishna is black. And then the blackness appeared, and he got his golden effulgence. That so that is. But then Lord Chaitanya said something very, very interesting. He said, I've taken all these sins of Jagai and Madai, but I will transfer these sins to those who criticize my devotees. I will not keep it. I will give it to them who criticize my devotees. So how dangerous it is to criticize devotees. Then further in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, one day Lord Chaitanya, confidentially for his devotees, he showed how he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he gave the mercy to all his devotees, was glorifying them and gave them love of God. And he went to all his devotees, but not to Mother Sachi, his own mother. And the devotees said, why are you not calling your mother? And Lord Chaitanya said, she's no thunder. She has offended Advaita Acharya. That, and then the reason for that is that when the first son of Mother Sachi, that was Vishvarup, and Vishvarup every day went to Advaita Acharya, Santipur, which is not so far from there, to hear the class, the Bhagavatam class, and from Advaita Acharya. So, and sometimes Mother Sachi would send Nimai, who was at the time 5 years old, and she would say, go and get your brother. I think maybe it was because I think Advaita Acharya had also another house closer. Anyway, it was not so far. But then Nimai went to Advaita Acharya and to and Vishvarup was there. And when Advaita Acharya would see would see Nimai, immediately his attraction, this love of God, it would become so ecstatic just by seeing Nimai, because it was Advaita Acharya who appealed for Lord Chaitanya to appear. That's another story. But then Nimai said, yeah, Mother has called, please come for your dinner. And daily that went on like that. But after some time, it was time for Vishvarup to be married. And of course, Mother Sachi was making arrangements for his marriage. And when Vishvarup heard that, he at once took sannyas and disappeared. But then Mother Sachi said, this is a fault of Advaitacharya. Because he has instructed Vishvarup, our son, in devotional service and has caused detachment from this world in his heart. Of course, if we become attached to Krishna, we become detached from this world. So he said it's Advaitacharya's fault. And she was criticizing him. And that was a great offense. And therefore Lord Chaitanya said, I can't give her the love of God. She has committed this aparadha. Only if she asked forgiveness of Advaitacharya, I will give her. And Mother Sachi went to Advaitacharya and touched his feet. And immediately she became, after that, ecstatic. Love of God. So these are lessons to be learned, that how devotees deal with each other. So we should learn to serve those who serve the Lord and appreciate their good qualities. That is what we should do. See the good qualities. These qualities are important. The spiritual qualities. Spiritual qualities, humility, servitude, that not asking for oneself, tolerating everything. These are great qualities. Appreciate their good qualities and serve them. Serve them. That is the defense against this offense. So cultivate. We need to cultivate a mood of service to the holy name and the Vaishnavas. If we chant Hare Krishna mantra, it's a service. Rupa Goswami says it's a service. Atasa Krishna namadi namavetrayam indriyam sevamukhe jivato svayameva spratyada. That's because Rupa Goswami says that with our material senses, with our ears, we cannot appreciate this holy name of Krishna. We cannot appreciate Krishna's form, Krishna's qualities, his pastimes. But if we offer service to Krishna by using our tongue to chant the holy name, it's a service to Krishna, chanting the holy name. Or we take prasadam, food offered to the Lord. That will also purify our tongue. But it's a service. Taking prasad is not the ordinary eating. It's called honoring prasad. It's not the food is there and we are going to conquer it. No, it is when we take the prasad, we taste it very nicely to taste how Krishna tastes. It's a meditation. It should be peaceful in a clean environment. So before we take lunch, we should take a shower. That's best. Yes, it's a service. To cultivate a mood of service to the holy name and to the devotees of the Lord. And so it is in the Padma Purana. Lord Shiva says to Parvati, the highest mode of worship is worship of Lord Vishnu. But higher than the worship of Lord Vishnu is the worship of the Lord's devotees. It's higher than the worship of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, we worship especially also the pure devotees, but all devotees. That we do Guru Puja every day. That because also in the Adi Purana there we have Lord Krishna saying to Arjuna that he says, "One who claims that to be my devotee is not my devotee, but one who is a devotee of my devotee is my real devotee." So this is the Sadhu Ninda. Yeah, the third evening speaking about it. I skipped a part because it's going too detailed in some things, but we went to the essence in 3 days. Any question, comment? Yes.
You said that the best depends if ever what is to find good qualities.
It is to
Find good qualities in devotees.
that's one of the way of to cultivate
serve
nice relationships. Yeah, that's
how to serve the good qualities in devotees.
how to
serve.
serve. Yeah. First, we must know what are good qualities. That what are spiritual qualities. They are described in Bhagavad Gita. I started to read what Advesta Sarvabhutana Maitra Karuna Ebasa Nirmamo Nirankara Samduka Skamdhyam. So this one is non-envious. Non-envious. Nirma, yeah, that's Advesta Sarvabhutana, non-envious towards all living entities. And Nirmamo Nirankara, who does not think this is mine, no sense of possessiveness, that no false ego, no I and mine, I'm the enjoyer, and that is for my enjoyment, it's not there. Samtika Sukamdiram, equal in happiness and distress. So these are just the beginning of a long list of qualities. And where do you find them? They're all in Bhagavad Gita. They're in Bhagavad Gita. And in the neck of devotion, you have also a whole list of qualities of devotees, spiritual qualities. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, you have Krishna gives to Uddhav 24 qualities of a pure devotee. So we can learn them from the scriptures and recognize them in devotees. But, of course, Trinata Vishnu, Torah Vishnu, the words of Lord Chaitanya, one who is humble. That humility is the symptom of someone who is in knowledge of one's own insignificant position in this world. But these qualities are all described in the scripture, and we have to learn them and find them in others. Not just learn them, to find them in others. Endeavor to develop them, although they will develop automatically if you change. But it's good to be aware of them. Very good. Something else? Good. Then welcome. So, any prayers? Nama Namaste Narasimha.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
His divine face, Abhaikshan Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Vishnupad Paramamsa Parapkashaya Asatara Shati Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada ki. Shri Guru Parampara ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki. Namacharya Sriladas Thakur ki. Prem Guru Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shri Vasa Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Shama Kunda Radha Kunda, Shri Govardhan ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki, Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki, Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Gangamaya Yamunamaya ki, Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shri Gaura Premanand. All glories to the Assembly of Bhuttis. All glories to the Assembly of Bhuttis. All glories to the Assembly of Bhuttis. All glories to Shiru and Shigoranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada.